What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Touchdowns to Home Runs. My name is Bernie. Thank you for joining us today on the Touchdowns to Home Runs show. Hope that your day is going absolutely fantastic. And hail to the victors, because for the first time since 2011, the Michigan Wolverines have won a tremendously big game and beat the Ohio State Buckeyes 42-27 today. We'll get into the box scores in just a bit and also preview the Big 10 championship game that we just qualified for in just a bit as well. But first, I want to give my opinions on what we saw today. The first thing is that it has been a very long road for the Michigan Wolverines. A long last couple of years, particularly last year, was just tremendously awful. We have not played Ohio State tight since 2016, and we went into really a program defining off season at the end of last year, figuring out what to do with Jim Harbaugh, replacing Don Brown and having to find a new defensive coordinator. And I just want to say that after all of the misery that Michigan fans have gone through, we are finally in a position not only to play in the Big 10 championship game, which is going to be either against Wisconsin or Iowa, depending on what happens later today, but we have a real shot now at making the college football playoffs. As long as we don't lose next week, we should be in. And I am just beyond happy, beyond words for the way that we played, especially today in the second half. Just absolutely insane. A couple things that really stood out to me today. Second half, as I mentioned, was a very, very good half. Outscored Ohio State 28-14. Got a lot better on third down. We were not great on third down in the first half, but really locked in, got a lot better in the second half. And I think that played a big role in us obviously being able to really pull away especially that third quarter. Aidan Hutchinson is the best defender, in my opinion, in college football. I think he had, 3 sacks, was it today? Set the Michigan single season record for sacks in a season. Just tremendous. And, we knew that the Michigan pass rush was great this season. It was probably their strongest, part of their team besides their backfield. But it really did show today. And this is an Ohio State offense that was coming off, a week that they absolutely destroyed the Michigan State Spartans in the first half. And that's why a lot of people had Ohio State favored by 7, 8, 9 or whatever it was coming into this week. So absolutely huge. They played phenomenal today. The other thing, obviously, Hassan Haskins ran for 169 yards. That was obviously going to be one of the biggest factors coming into the game, especially because it was very cold and snowing. And I didn't think that Michigan should have been favored coming into the game, but I thought that if there was any way that Michigan pulls this out, it was because they get a tremendous advantage with Ohio State having to be a pass-heavy team in the cold weather compared to Michigan, who's a great running team. And that's what you got to do in the colder weather. So Hassan Haskins, great game. Blake Corum, who was back out for the past couple of weeks, ran for 87 yards as well, ran for 297 as a team. And that shows why we're the best running offense, in my opinion, in the country. And just some tremendous efforts. Also, the offensive line was phenomenal. And they have been all year. We have some really great pieces, and they showed today. We had some great pass protection. And yeah, we'll get to the box score more in just a second, but the pass protection was absolutely phenomenal. So I want to get to the box score. We'll start with Michigan in the passing game. Cade McNamara, 13-19, 159. No touchdown passes, but it didn't matter. 5 touchdown runs on the ground by Hassan Haskins. McNamara only threw the 1 interception, which was in the first half. I thought that might be a little bit costly because Michigan had all the momentum. We had up 7 with the ball in the red zone, and then you throw the pick and you feel like, maybe the momentum is starting to shift. It wasn't the case. I thought McNamara was decent today, but again, really carried by the run game. The 5 touchdowns, 169 on 28 carries by Hassan Haskins. And we're so deep. We already knew that in terms of the backfield, but it really showed again today, when you can bring pieces like Blake Corum. We've seen what Donovan Edwards can do in some previous games in the absence of Blake Corum. But it really all came together today, and I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of the season. In terms of the receiving game, Roman Wilson led the way, 55 yards. Johnson, 48. We had a couple of other guys with some less yards, less receptions. Again, only 14 catches overall today, but it was the run game. That was the story. In terms of the defense, as I was saying before, Hutchinson was phenomenal. The pass rush is phenomenal. And that was the big difference maker today. And I've been saying all season, I haven't done as many post-game reactions as I've done in the past this year. But, the defense was a big question coming into the year because you have a guy in Mike McDonald who came as a linebacker coach, first-time defensive coordinator, and probably in the toughest position in college football in terms of coordinator position that had to get filled after last season. And he's done such a phenomenal job. Some of the looks that Michigan gives on defense are just great. But you look at some other guys who've taken steps up from last year, Vincent Gray being one of those. And, he did not have an easy matchup today. The receiving core of Ohio State is absolutely phenomenal. And I thought, again, they did a tremendous job to hold a very good Ohio State team with a potential Heisman candidate in C.J. Stroud, and you hold them to only 27 points. Beyond impressive, in my opinion. We'll briefly go through the Ohio State passing. 394 on 34-49. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for Stroud. But I thought what the great thing that the Michigan defense did was keep the bodies in front of you. Ohio State didn't really have any tremendous pickups. Their secondary didn't really get destroyed very often. And that's something that I think, when you have a receiving core and a quarterback who's this talented, it's very tough to do. Ohio State had 2 guys over 100 yards receiving, but again, no tremendously big plays. The long of the game was, I think, 39. They had a couple in the 20s as well. And Trayvon Henderson, 74 yards on 17 carries. Did a decent job stopping the run overall. Ohio State only had 2.1 per carry. Quickly, I want to look at the team stats. 7 of 17 on third down for Ohio State, 5 of 8 for Michigan. But the big difference, as I was saying before, is how Michigan cleaned that up and their third down defense between the first and the second half. Obviously, the 1 turnover to Michigan, a ton of penalties for Ohio State. But I don't think in the end it was the ultimate difference maker. But again, a huge win for Michigan. So as I was saying, next week it's either going to be against Iowa or it's going to be against Wisconsin. Both of these teams play at, I think, 4 or 4:30. Don't quote me on that, though. But Wisconsin with a win will make it in. If they lose and Iowa wins, it's going to be Iowa. Both beatable teams in my opinion, but a win next week would send us to the college football playoffs. So super exciting. Great time to be a Michigan fan. No doubt about it. Hail to the victors. Go blue. If you did enjoy today's video, please make sure to let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. Smash that subscribe button for more content just like this. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again next time.